What we're seeing with Donald Trump has moved beyond cognitive decline at this point. This is a full-on cognitive collapse, and it's been unfolding since before he was even sworn in for his second term. The mainstream media has largely ignored this issue until now, when they're finally deciding to give it some actual coverage. Doctors are speaking out as well, including a former White House physician who's making it very clear just how severe Donald Trump's mental deterioration has become, with multiple medical opinions finally bringing some attention to this whole situation. And because of that, and also because Donald Trump has completely lost his mind, he decided to post on Truth Social this morning about health in a way that has totally backfired on him. We're going to break all of it down.
Under the headline, Shorter Days, Signs of Fatigue, Trump Faces Realities of Aging in Office. The Times has documented the newly abbreviated schedule for the struggling 79-year-old man. Quote, in 2017, the first year of his first term, Mr. Trump's scheduled events started at 10:31 a.m. on average. By contrast, Mr. Trump in his second term has started scheduled events in the afternoon on average at 12:08 p.m. His events end on average at around the same time as they did during the first year of his term, shortly after 5 p.m. The number of Mr. Trump's total official appearances has decreased by 39%. 39% less Donald Trump. That's what we're getting now. Donald Trump was the laziest president we had ever seen in his first term. He is now 39% lazier. And he is now apparently struggling with a 5-hour workday. And of course, none of us have seen him do anything that in any way meets the definition of work during those 5 hours. The Times reports Mr. Trump appeared to doze off during an event in the Oval Office. And so we are now covering the physical decline and fall of Donald Trump. Last night, I mentioned Donald Trump's age a couple of times when I pointed out that you can see the 79-year-old man who gets very little sleep bewildered about how he is losing his grip on the Republican Party. And there are people who are in full-blown dementia in their early 60s. We all age differently, and Donald Trump is aging just fine for someone who should be watching TV all day and playing golf occasionally, but he's aging terribly for a president. But Donald Trump at his best age would have been the stupidest president and most incompetent president in history and the most corrupt. A younger Donald...
Lawrence O'Donnell has been one of the only voices out there willing to call this out and beg the mainstream media to pay attention to Donald Trump's cognitive decline. He's constantly criticizing the White House press pool, who seem like they don't even want to do their jobs anymore because they never question Donald Trump about his health. Donald Trump is the one who has to bring up his health himself. On multiple occasions, he started talking about his cognitive tests or his MRIs, and there's almost never any pushback or follow-up questions being asked. It seems to me like only independent outlets are actually raising these issues. But doctors are talking about it too, specifically about the MRI that Donald Trump had, and why the White House has been so vague about giving any diagnosis about what's going on. And it's causing Donald Trump to melt down on Truth Social. But we have to see what the doctors are saying first. Top doctor warns there's reason to be worried about Trump's cognitive decline. A top doctor has warned there's reason to be worried about Donald Trump's declining health. Now, a leading public health physician, Dr. Vin Gupta, has claimed that Trump is visibly slowing down, saying clearly something is happening to his mental capability. Clearly they're not getting MRIs just because that's just the moment that we live in, Gupta said during an appearance on the Made Us Touch podcast. There's a reason, and they're worried. Frankly, piecing this all together, there's a reason to be worried based on his public performance. Gupta, who previously served as chief medical officer at Amazon, annihilated Trump's claims that he didn't know which part of his body he had an MRI scan on during a checkup in October, calling it utter nonsense. And according to Donald Trump's niece, he has dementia just like his father. Mary Trump did not hesitate when asked why she believes her uncle, President Donald Trump, is in cognitive decline. In a searing interview on the Daily Beast podcast, the daughter of Donald Trump's late older brother, Fred Trump Jr., laid out the clearest case she's ever made that the president is exhibiting the same signs she once saw in her father, Fred Trump Sr., who had Alzheimer's for a very, very long time. It was really after a former White House doctor started questioning why Donald Trump was hiding so much about his MRI that we started seeing these reports come out. But with all of this in mind, Donald Trump decided that he would hop on Truth Social this morning and start talking about health and healthcare himself, in a way that just proves that his brain isn't working properly. And I want to take a look at that post. Because I have invoked favored nations status for the United States of America, drug prices are falling at levels never seen before, 500%, 600%, 700%, and more. No other president has been able to do this, but I have. This is also the answer to much less expensive and far better health care. Republicans, remember, this was done by us and nobody else. This is a revolution in medicine, the biggest and most important event ever. If this story is properly told, we should win the midterm elections in record numbers. I am the affordability president. Talk loudly and proudly. President DJT. Drug prices have not fallen 500, 600, and 700%. Last time I checked, we were not getting paid to take our medication. That is not the America that we live in yet. And so, yeah, if Donald Trump wanted to draw more attention to his cognitive decline, making up fake numbers about how he has the most affordable presidency because he's paying people to take their drugs would be a great way to show that his brain is leaking out the side of his face. Like, this is such an obvious cope from Donald Trump while everyone is talking about not just his inability to produce a healthcare plan that's been 2 weeks away for a decade now, but also his own deteriorating health. And if you wanted people to stop talking about your health, posting something like this just shows that your brain is broken. It's almost like Donald Trump wants us to be talking about his cognitive decline. He keeps constantly bringing up his MRI. He's always talking about what a good job he did identifying an elephant on that test. Donald Trump started this administration claiming that he was going to make America healthy again, only to make it harder to buy food to sustain yourself, harder to get medicine to keep yourself alive. He's kicking people off of their health care plans left and right. RFK Jr. is taking the fluoride out of the water and has practically banned vaccines at this point. What part of this is keeping anyone healthy? I feel a lot worse considering I'm stressed all the time and pulling my hair out watching this unfold. It doesn't really show the cohesive Mayhay plan that Donald Trump promised from the beginning. But when was that ever actually going to be the case? It wasn't. And anyone who bought into that was duped, like so many others were by Donald Trump. But we tried to warn you. I hate coming back to I told you so. I don't take any pleasure in doing the I told you so dance, but we did. We tried to communicate this. Donald Trump has only made people's lives worse in every single place that you look. And it wasn't just that post on Truth Social this morning. Donald Trump is now saying that airspace over Venezuela, if you enter it, he's going to blow you up. Donald Trump is threatening pilots, saying he's going to shoot down their planes. This is where we're at in Donald Trump's America. We are much more unhealthy than ever before. And we're blowing up planes over Venezuela. So there goes Make America Healthy Again, and there goes no new wars. All of the promises haven't just been broken or ignored. They've been completely obliterated. It's like he's trying to make a show of it on purpose. And on the health front, I still feel like we're not talking nearly enough about RFK Jr., which is why I find this clip with Chris Murphy still so important.
I want to talk to you about the statements that you made to the chairman of this committee and to members of this committee during your confirmation hearing about vaccines. You didn't tell the truth. I find that to be really dangerous for our relationship. If I were the chairman who believes in vaccines and voted for you because he believed what you said about supporting vaccines, my head would be exploding. In the hearing, you told us, quote, I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce any funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs. That's not the truth. You've done exactly. Let me finish my question.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. I'm just asking you to repeat it so I can understand your question.
During the hearing, I'll repeat it. During the hearing, you said to this committee and to the Finance Committee, I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs. That is not what happened. You've done the opposite. You canceled $12 billion in grants to the states, including my state, that are used to administer and track vaccines. You promised Chairman Cassidy.
When did I do that?
Madam Chair, would you allow me to finish my question?
Keep going with your question.
When did I do that?
Let me finish my question.
Accusation. Just tell me when I did it so I can understand what the question is.
You have canceled $12 billion in public health grants to states, whether you know this or not. That funding is used by the states in part to be able to administer and dispense information about vaccines.
Which program?
Mr. Secretary, let me give you the full panoply of
of accusations without details.
The things you said before this committee that didn't turn out to be true. You also promised Chairman Cassidy that the FDA would not change vaccine standards from, quote, historical norms. But what happened as soon as you were sworn in? You announced new standards for vaccine approvals that you proudly referred to in your own press release as a radical departure from current practice. And experts say that that departure will delay approvals. You also said, specific to the measles vaccine, that you support the measles vaccine. But you have consistently been undermining the measles vaccine. You told the public that the vaccine wanes very quickly. You went on the Dr. Phil show and said that the measles vaccine was never fully tested for safety. You said there's fetal debris in the measles vaccine. And this morning—
All true.
This morning in
Do you
front of—
want me to lie to the public?
That's not— none of that is—
Of course it's true. Of course it's true, Senator. Senator, begging your product, you do not know what you're talking about.
For the record—
Let's have a little bit of order so that you can get
Madam
your
Chair,
question
I'm
and we can get
I didn't
this
ask.
in.
I didn't ask for a response yet.
I
I'd
understand
like to
that.
lay out the predicate of my question before I'm interrupted by the witness. He should
Go
have some
ahead.
respect for this committee.
Go ahead.
Just this morning in front of the House of Representatives, you also said that you, in fact, would not recommend that kids get vaccinated for measles. You said you would just lay out the pros and cons. Okay, so this is the summation of everything that you have said to compromise people's faith in the measles vaccine in particular is contrary to what you said before this committee. You said you support the measles vaccine, but then you have laid out a set of facts that are contested, and I will submit information for the record from experts who contest what you have said about the vaccine, and the result is to undermine faith in the vaccine. It's kind of like saying, listen, I think you should swim in that lake, but, you know, the lake is probably toxic, and there's probably a ton of snakes and alligators in that lake, but I think you should swim in it. Nobody's going to swim in that lake.
These people are fraudsters, plain and simple. And I think it is not talked about enough that RFK Jr., much like everyone else in this administration, is just trying to make a buck off of this job. And he has done it very successfully. His grift has been a lot quieter than everybody else's, but that doesn't mean it's not still happening, which is why we're going to keep calling it out. If you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. Until next time.